Good morning, everybody. It is Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and that means we're here for another TRS Live. I am Matt Trotz, and man, I'm overlooking the Real Shot sales floor, and it looks like they are ready for business. Don't forget, the Real Shot has new hours now. Thursday, Fridays, they start opening up at 8 a.m., and they are open till 8 p.m., and then again on Saturday, they open up at 8 o'clock again and they close at 5, but they are closed on Sunday. So if you want that information, go to the Real Shot, realshot.com. You see it right here. That's where you're going to find all the information on cool new stuff. Also, all the great stuff that we're talking about here on TRS Live. There's a special little tab on the left-hand side in the categories area. Click on that. You'll see upcoming shows, past shows, you'll see products that you missed. So check out therealshot.com. Plus, you need to be there if you're interested in some of the stuff that we're talking about here on TRS Live. So Wednesday, we kind of started a theme, right? We stayed in that turkey world all day Wednesday. We talked about some decoys. We talked about some calls. Now we're going to finish up this week still talking about some turkey stuff. And then we're going to roll into what I feel is a very, very important thing for this time of year with insect control. So let's get started right away. Here in front of me on the table, I have another decoy. This is a feeder hen from HS Strut Hunter Specialties. This is obviously the feeding hen. You can see the body posture is relaxed on this feeding hen. Now let's talk about the price right away. Let's get that out of the way. $39.99 normal retail price. $27.99 is the sale price that you're going to get this decoy for right now here on TRS Live. And again, everybody, with some of this stuff, I can't urge you enough. Like, we have supplies, but they are pretty limited. The thing about it is, let's save you some money now. So going into next spring or this fall, you are ready to go and you feel confident in your equipment. The thing about it too is, get it now so you can get used to it. Don't look like me on Wednesday's show trying to put that head on that HDR Jake. I mean, it's one thing, get it now so you get used to it. You figure out how you want to be efficient out in the woods. And this decoy here from HS Strut is definitely going to help you out. So the nice thing about it, one of the things about it here is now we're kind of getting back into the original world of decoys with this one here from HS Strut, this feeding hen. This is more of your collapsible decoy. So this is a lightweight material here that allows you to fold it up, and then when you need to deploy it, you know, it just pops it out. You can just put your hand in here, and this is actually for being able to, you know, pop it down or, you know, fold it up like this, and it kind of lives in a box here within a bag. This thing, when it goes back to its shape, just a little bit of poking around and I got it back to the way it should look. Now, if there's any creases in it, if there's any areas that aren't popping out, they do recommend a couple of things that you can do to get that material back out to the original shape. Just take a hairdryer. And you can do this with the AV&X decoys too. Take a hairdryer, don't place it right next to it, but you can just hit it lightly and that'll help bring some of that material back out. The other thing too that I've done is I just put them out in the hot sun, right? That also lets the air kind of expand in some of these areas and lets that material get a little more pliable, and that'll bring some of the life back to your decoy. I also know some people will put it in a hot shower. That'll also help. So, you know, with this thing, when you are running and gunning with it, if you have to collapse it a bunch, you know, and you all of a sudden you're finding at the end of the day it's just not popping back out to it. Some of those late spring hunts, I mean, it's getting to be 80, 90 degrees outside. Just leave it out in the sun, or even when it's on the decoy, the decoy stake, it should be, you know, absorbing that sun and kind of popping itself back into that original shape. But talking about the original shape, this thing has a great shape right here. You can see it again. It's that feeder motion. So if I put it on here, and the one cool thing about it is this is a little bit of exaggerated stake right here. But this system right here that we use to display these would definitely work for you out in the field. But I'm just putting it on here, and you can kind of see here a little bit of movement here from my hand. Obviously, it simulates what the wind would do, and then it kind of just dances back and forth too. This thing looks really, really good. You know, just a little bit of movement here. It sits really nice, and this is a stake. I'll show you here. This is the stake that it comes with. You know, it just sits, it just slides into itself. It's a carbon rod, kind of locks in there pretty nice and tight. Then it has a bigger knob to the head that'll fit through the top of the back of this thing. Now there is a little bit of a plastic piece right here that you could, if you want, what that plastic piece on this stake does, right? So you have the piece that goes through the back, but then this little portion right here, that's just gonna help keep it from doing those unnatural spins, like what the wind really picks up and your decoy might be spinning like crazy. You can leave that on, or you have the option with the instructions to break that off if you want a little bit more movement. So what this stake would do, I'm just gonna take the top portion here, and look how big the bottom is on this thing. You know, we have a couple of easy access areas in this decoy, so you can set it up fast. Some of those other ones, those more hard body decoys that we were playing with earlier, I mean, that stake is designed to fit just right inside there to help eliminate some of that unnatural movement. What HS Strut did, I mean, this company, some of the history, 1977 is when they released their first product from Hunter Specialties, and actually it's one of those products you probably still use today. It's a Nomar gun tape. That's one of those things that, you know, I know the Real Shot has carried. Then they worked into a compact for face paint. Actually, the military used that. So they've been in the game really since 1977. So Hunter Specialties knows exactly what's going on with their product. But easy access in here. You could store a couple of things in here. You can put the stake in here too once you break it apart. That'll help transport really, really nice. But back to where that stake fits in there. Just put it in here. And the way that little knob on the end of that stake is going to help eliminate it. But if I broke it off, I would get a lot more natural movement. It just, the only thing is on really windy days, you might get a lot more of that unnatural spinning. But the way this thing sets, and with stake placement too, even though there's a hole in the back that's meant to fit this stake, this carbon rod stake here, you can kind of set it back and forth in here, just having it set on this. And then you can get more of that feeding position, right? With this head being a lot closer to the ground. Or you can kind of tip it forward like she's bugging a little bit higher. I mean, there's a lot of natural movement you can get out of this thing. And again, it just looks really, really nice, and especially for that price range that we got it at today. $27.99 is the sales price, normally $39.99. It's a really, really nice decoy. It's lightweight, foldable. We've talked about that, the hollow body. You know, the other thing too with the paint about this thing, you know, that's really, really critical, because we talked about fooling a turkey's eyes, right? They can see in 270 degrees. They have a lot more rods that helps them gather the color and make them see a lot better. And, you know, you definitely have to fool that tom or that hen's eyes. So this has a really nice texture to it for a foldable decoy. And the other thing too is they did a nice job with the paint scheme on this decoy. And it has a flake resistant paint, so it adheres really nice to the decoy. Because the more you're going to do this, the more you're going to collapse it, throw it in the backpack, throw it in your turkey vest. You know, the one thing you got to worry about is those areas of high stress, kind of middle of the body, that paint getting worn down a little bit. Well, they figured that out. They made it so that paint does not, you know, does not flake, does not, you're not going to jeopardize that. Plus with this, the material, you know, the sun's not going to fade this. This is going to be a nice, long-lasting decoy. And this is actually the perfect decoy for that run and gun hunter. You know, when you pair this with maybe the HS Strut Jake that was available this year at the Real Shot, I mean, you have an ultimate setup. Plus you have the ability to go in. If you're hunting public land where you have to go way far in, you got to get away from the pressure. You want to get yourself in a spot where there's unpressured birds. This is the perfect decoy to it. Thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of decoys, or turkeys fell victim to that foldable foam decoy. Well, HS Strut realized that those were perfect because they're awesome for transporting them way back in. You know, there's sometimes you don't have the option to use a decoy, but if it's there, if it's tucked into your pack, it's in and out of the way, it's not adding a whole lot of weight to you, you know, then you have that option if you absolutely need it. And you never know. You come around the corner, and you hit one of those locator calls like we talked about. You hit your slate call that we're going to be talking about here a little bit, and you get that bird to gobble, and he's with 100. if you need to set up a decoy really fast, they figured this all out, right? Like this big open area here, you grab your stake, you throw it in there, you know, or I've even in the past, if it's really panic mode, right? The stake is made to be really easy, but with this big opening on the bottom of it, how many times have you found like a piece of brush? I've just shoved it on a piece of brush. Now doing that, maybe I don't get the natural movement like I want if the wind is here, but at that point, if that bird's coming, he just needs to see something visually, and again, to take the attention off of you. So with that big opening at the bottom of it, you can shove this on a small branch that's down there. You could, you know, there's maybe some smaller oaks or maples that are growing up. You just got to get it set up quickly so you can get out and get it hidden in your spot and get a good shooting opportunity. Plus, if you look at it, I mean, we talked about that paint structure. You can see the HS hidden right here. Here, let's go to that top cam here, where you can see that HS is built right in. So you know what brand it is, you know what quality brand it is. You see it right here on the side. They blended that right in with the paint scheme. But as we have it here, okay, now I figured it out. You can see our paint scheme. You can still see we have that little bit of natural shine like we've talked about with some other decoys in the past. As we roll it on back, you know, we got that top back portion. But you can feel it, and hopefully I'm doing a good job. You can see the ridges of this decoy. You know, they did a really nice job of making it lifelike by making it more 3D. Really coming at you. Again, a high resolution eye here of a taxidermy eye. It's got that nice dull natural head that you look for in a hen decoy. This thing looks really good. Plus, now that we have it there, I'll fold it really quickly. And you can see how small this thing really packs down to be here. See there? Now, even on the wide side, you know, if you really want to crimp this down, you can crimp this down. It's not very big. This is going to fit in your pack. And just like that, just ever so easy, it pops out. And even if I had a crinkle in this thing, I'd still trust it to work, right? I know that if I don't have time to pop it out, I'm gonna have a good looking decoy right here. So as we set it on the desk, look at this thing. It looks really great, and especially at that price range. The best thing about this is we're selling it at $27.99. This is an ultimate packable decoy. This is one too if you want to have more of a flock situation. You get this with a couple other of the HS Strut decoys that are foldable. You're going to be able to take 2 or 3 with these. Compared to those hard body decoys that we've talked about on Wednesday, you know, this is one that you can bring 2, 3 of these decoys in with you and have a good assortment and have something to go with and really show them that flock. But there you see on the screen right now, you're getting a look at it kind of in the natural settings, even in the shade, it still kind of shines. It still kind of looks natural enough, but there's still enough of that, you know, that sheen that I like to look for when I'm looking at turkeys in the field. That's really going to draw the eye and hopefully draw the eye of the birds to that location and take the eyesight away from you. So this is a HS Strut. It's a feeding hen decoy. It's one of the most natural positions when I'm coming out to a field and you know, if I'm a tom and I see this little gal right here and her head's down and she's just picking away, you know. The other thing too about this position, as I want to finish my point here, is this is a natural, right? I'm not alert. I'm not looking in one direction, kind of, you know, putting that tom on alert. That's why some of those decoys where that head's in that upright position, you got to know the right time to use that kind of stuff. Because anytime a head's up, right, on an animal, usually they're looking at something, whether it's good or bad. And if another animal, another deer, another turkey's coming out into the field, and that's the first thing they see is another turkey with its head up looking in a certain direction, that's going to kind of put that bird on alert until, you know, it comes in a little closer and it realizes that there's no danger. There is no alertness to this decoy right here. This thing is feeding. It's at a relaxed positioning. So you know that with that little bit of movement here, when another bird approaches this thing, it's going to be like, hey, you know what? Things are cool. This bird's out here having a good old time. Plus, the other thing, too, with that head being down like this, it's not in the tom's favor, meaning now he realizes, or hopefully realizes, the idea behind this is I have to come in and investigate to get her attention now. So with her head down, feeding, picking, especially as the season progresses and we might get a little bit taller, you know, whether it's oats, wheat, something like that in the field, or just the undergrowth is showing a little bit, he's going to have to work to get her attention. And even more, like we've talked about with some of the other decoys, if the head placement is away from him, he comes out and he's seen the quartering to or the quartering away look, you know, and all of a sudden he's like, well, I got to try to get the attention of this hen. Her head's down. She really must have found the, you know, the jackpot on bugs. I got to come around, and I'm going to put that tom in a position for. So even with this still being a relaxed feeding position, I would still encourage you to put the head in your direction, because I want that bird to have to come around and get the attention. So he's going to come out to the field, and especially if you can kind of get at that quartering away look from the ideal area where you think that tom's going to come from. Now I know there's nothing ideal when you're turkey hunting, right? Like he may come from this way, but if he can see like a full side of the body, but he can't quite see where her head's pointed, that's just going to draw his attention in even more. He sees her that she's relaxed, she's in a feeding position, now her head's away from him. He's got to do a little bit more work. That might coax that bird in that last 10 yards where you're going to get that shot opportunity. So this is a really good decoy. I really like the price on this one. We're kind of getting back into that old school mentality with this foldable decoy here from HS Strut. This is the packable decoy. This is one that you're going to want. Even if you want to go to that flock mentality where you're going to run this with another hen and a jake, you know, you're going to be able to get 3 of these decoys compacted down in the backpack, in the back of your vest, and not have to worry about that extra bulk. And then it gives you the options too. So if I was going to start with a decoy, in my personal opinion, I like this relaxed feeder hen. I like the breeding setup. If I'm able to, you know, want to pack in a little bit full-size decoys, this thing's still at the size, and being able to be folded down is still in a good size where it's not too overpowering, but it's not too small where it might be hard to see from a distance. This, in the feeding position, this hen is going to be a #1 for me. I like the way this looks. I like the way that it folds up. This is a good looking decoy. This is one that I, you know, would definitely use this next spring in 2023. So I encourage you to take advantage of that, the $27.99. While supplies last, go to therealshot.com. You can enter in code STFHD. That'll get you to this HS Strut, the feeding hen, and that foldable. Comes with the carbon stake. It's a really, really nice combination. And you're getting ahead of the game going into the spring of 2023. Or I would use this thing yet this year in the fall. I think this would give you, if you're hunting in a field situation, you go back to that flock mentality. You get a couple of these out there. It's going to be a lot easier to pack in and out. I think I would run this definitely in the fall as you are hunting late season toms, meaning that fall season, and or trying to fill a hen tag. That's something that, you know, this would definitely play a big part into. So one last time, it's STFHD. You see it on the screen right now. Normally $39.99, $27.99. Let's remind everybody, Fix TV subscribers, go ahead on the bottom if you haven't gotten your $5 credit. Let's go ahead and get that figured out. That frequently asked questions portion on the bottom of the Fix TV page is going to help you get there. Let's get you that $5 credit, and maybe this is the perfect decoy to use your $5 credit on. So let's continue on. HS Strut will be coming up next. So on our docket, we're talking about the HS Strut closing time slate call. This is one I'm going to coin as the TRS real deal of the day. So we're staying in that HS Strut world. We'll talk a little bit more on the history of HS Strut when we come back from this commercial breaks. But that's the next product, HS Strut. It's the closing time slate call. So we'll be right back after these brief commercial breaks. Hey, it's Matt Trotz here with The Guided Life. We just met up with one of the guys from the crew, and he's like, they're on a hot track, so it's put her 4 high and get on these back roads and scream. Every year that I've been a part of that and I go to that class, I always learn something. So these guys are gonna join me, and the reason I asked these 2 guys in here is because we got Travis, who does a lot of public land hunting, and then Judd and I are private land, owners and hunters for the most part as well. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks again for joining us here on the Friday TRS Live. Remember, we are live in here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays starting at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And the idea behind TRS is to save you a bunch of money. So I already know that iHunter has done this a bunch. I know that Dylan Williams, there's a bunch of fans that absolutely are big fans of TRS Live. So thank you very much. But help us out. Help continue us to grow this so we can bring you more products with better discounts and maybe more of the products that you want to see. So share this. Let your friends know. Whether you're watching it on the Real Shop page, you're watching it on TRS Live, you're watching it on our YouTube channels, or you're a Fixed TV subscriber, do us a favor, share this. I know, like Doug told me the other days, I've already shared it with over 100 people. We appreciate that. That's so awesome that we have that so much support. And I know that Doug has also made quite a few purchases just by watching TRS Live. So we do appreciate that. And don't forget, everybody, there's a chat. There's a chat that's available. So if you want to call me out on something I may have not said correctly, if you want to give me some input, I want testimonials. This show is going to be so much better if I can get your testimonials. So do us a favor, share it to our socials. Hey, you know what? I use the HS Strut decoy that we just got done talking about. Here's my first Big Tom. Here's my first Jake. It allowed me, my kid, my wife, so on and so forth. Share your testimonials with us. We'd love to use it on the show with your permission. I'd love for chats, right? If you can give me some more questions, some more comments, whether it's good, bad, or the ugly, I love it all. It doesn't matter to me. So go ahead and send us some questions. That would be so much fun if we could really get this interactive. That's the idea behind this, right? Like, I don't want to have to sit here and talk for 15 minutes about the great products that the Real Shot carries, just listening to me talk, right? Like, I want your interaction. So there is a chat available. I know Katie's in there monitoring it, so if you have any questions, just say hi. I'll give you a shout out. We'll say hi back. So, continuing on with the HS Strut world, we are going to get into the closing time. This is a slate call. This is a awesome friction style call. This is, for me, when I was starting to get into the turkey hunting world, I remember a slate call was my very first investment, and I knew it drove my parents nuts. I actually can remember the time frame. We were on a trip in Wisconsin Dells. You get a little allowance to go spend. I ended up buying a fishing reel that day, and for whatever reason, I bought a slate call, and I still have that slate call to this day. But it's awesome. I absolutely love it. So Aaron loves it when I kind of rate the fit and finish on these kind of things, and I'm going to get into this one right here. So this is a closing time slate call. $44.99 is the original retail price. $31.99 is the price. $31.49 is the price you're going to get it for here on TRS Live. So we get into it. This is absolutely. I have a HS Strut Hunter Specialties striker, and this is the one I have. Mine's a little bit older edition, but I absolutely love it, right? Like this thing This is a Dimulux striker right here. This thing gives me the best noise. The cool thing about it is I've tried carbon, I've tried different types of strikers, and for me the wood is what gives me the best. That wood grain, that Dimulux is what gives me the best sound that I want. It allows me to get loud with it. It allows me to get quiet with it when I need to. It's a big enough striker too where I can really get that pencil style grip that I like to do with my strikers. This is my go-to. I'll use this with that original slate call that I bought way back when I was this big, or the new HS Strut slate calls that I actually have and own right now too. So simple thing about it, it's a American walnut finish on the back side. You got your sound chambers on the back. You also have your imprinted turkey foot on the back. It looks really great. It's a little harder to see from that angle. I'll kind of move it around, but the finish on this one is really, really nice. And actually with a hand that's kind of sweaty a little bit right now, if I get some moisture on it, told you it was a little sweaty, it still sticks in my hand a little bit here, so that's nice. But if you want to get into some history, 1985 is when Hunter Specialties got into the turkey calling game. That is a long time to be a leader in the industry. So it is pure raw slate. And the other thing that I think is interesting about that is the slate is actually mined from the Pennsylvania mountains. If you kind of research on their website, you'll find that to be true. So I like that. I like the fact that they're getting some stuff right here in the good old US of A that encourages a lot of people to run their product. So way you want to work it, a little scratch pad here. Just kind of scratch up a certain area. And a lot of people will blow that extra dust off that I just created. Don't do that. Leave that on there. That's what's going to give you the best sound that you can actually get. And you know, I can get into instructions on this thing, right? Like again, like with the box call that we talked about, I like to use mine with an open hand posture. I feel like I can get a better sound chamber in there. I can get more sound to resonate. So I'll kind of grip it. Again, me being right-handed, I'll put the slate call in my left hand with an open palm. Again, you can kind of see there's an open sound chamber there. That allows me to rotate my wrist in the kind of direction where I want the noise to go. And then there's a lot of right and wrong on how to do this. The yelp is probably the easiest call to learn. Then you can get into the purr, the cluck. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do with this. The other nice thing about a slate call is it's a little less movement than the box call would be. You know, the box call, I got to work the whole entire paddle on the box itself. With this, if I'm kind of in a tight situation, I can still get some pretty good sound with just a little bit of movement. And where I absolutely love the slate calls or the glass calls, but the slate call in particular for this segment here is for your tree situations. When you're early morning and you know the birds are still roosted in the trees, you want to get your tree yelps, your soft purrs, your soft little clucks. That's where I absolutely feel for myself that the slate call, the friction call here is where it shines. Because in the morning like that, you don't really want to be loud right away. So let's just paint this scenario here. The sun's starting to trickle through, right? You're starting to get a little bit of that pink light situation. The birds, things are starting to move around a little bit. Now there's a period there where the turkeys are waking up themselves. And if you're in tight on a roosted tree, you'll start to hear the turkeys wake up as well. And they usually start pretty quiet, right? They might have a soft yelp or a soft purr, some tree clucks, things like that, right? Some tree yelps. But that usually it picks up as the sun gets higher in the sky too. And just right before fly down, that's when things can go crazy. And that's why I love spring so much. That's why I absolutely love turkey hunting so much, is because like deer hunting, you're waking up, right? You're waking up with the animals. But when you're in tight on a turkey, whether it's a hen's roosted in an area and that tom's not far away, or you're tight on a tom, the birds start chirping around you. And then when those hens start sounding off in the trees, and as the sunlight gets higher in the sky, or the sun rises higher and more sunlight, those birds get a lot more active, right? They're starting to wake up. And then once you go from some soft tree yelps And it doesn't take much. I think that's the big thing for a lot of people is they overcall, they make a lot of noise. I know I am 100% guilty of it at times, right? You got a tom firing back at you. You think you gotta be loud. The thing that as I've gotten older, right, I think maturity helps a lot of hunters out, is I've learned that less is sometimes more. And what I mean by that is less actual calling, less volume to my calls. That usually is a lot more. If you are in the area where your birds want to be, he's going to show up at some point, right? If you do your homework, you find the right settings, you find the right sign on the ground, or maybe you got a trail camera set up like a Cuddy Link and it's sending you pictures and you know that, hey, it's only a matter of time before he shows up in this area. Just giving him a little bit of something every once in a while might be all he needs to know. You don't have to get crazy loud. And you can hear, I mean, I really hammer down on that. And if I need to locate that bird, this thing can do it for me. But if I need to dial it down, you can do that on this call. So $31.49, it's a great price on this call. But I have one. I don't have this exact model, but I have a Hunter Specialties call in that HS Strut branding that is very, very similar to this, and it is my go-to slate call, right? I find too that having multiple slate calls, there's certain things that I can do better on one than I can do better on the other, right? I can still use this same high quality striker on both of them, but one for me purrs a lot better. So if I would need to, in a situation, get into those aggressive purrs, those fighting purrs, where that tom maybe is over there, he's like 150 yards, and he's just dancing back and forth, but all of a sudden I need to trip that trigger, I need to make him mad. You know, if I can do it, right, I probably won't be. You get that fighting purr like that, that might be enough to trip him. There's been a lot of times where I've been hunting a bird, he won't commit. I've had one in particular where he was on the other side of the fence line. I knew he had hens, right? But I needed him. I was in a blind situation with a new hunter. I needed to do everything I could to get that tom interested in what was going on the other side of that fence line. And it took a gobbler, and it took me fighting purring a bunch for me to actually coax the hens. The hens came in, they got tired of hearing that noise. They're like, something's going on over there. And as soon as the hen broke through the fence line, I could see the fan coming, and the tom came in. And once I saw him, he saw my decoy spread, and I actually ran a strutter at that time, and I think I had a couple of feeder hens out. But that was enough. He knew that this bird that was making that noise, especially with that fighting situation, you know, he knew that he had to come and investigate, and that's all it really took. So you can get creative too. So this is the slate. I can really tone up that volume, and I can learn so quickly on this. It's just hold at you know, a certain degree here. I don't even know. Aaron, what degree would you say my wrist is at right here? It's not a 45. Even Aaron doesn't know. But just hold it. Aaron's still trying to figure out the degree of my wrist. Sometimes I like to throw that stuff at Aaron to see if he's actually awake, because he might get annoyed by listening to my voice. Yeah, that's a question for you. Do you think we should have Aaron's voice when he's got something informational, when he's got a feather fact? I think you should be able to hear Aaron. But I could change the volume real quickly. Fly down cackles, yelps. This thing sounds really, really great. Made in the USA. I could just sit here for hours. How long do you think before people start signing off, Aaron, when I do that? But it is awesome. 1986 is when Hunter Specialties got into the turkey calling game. And you got to think about it. There's over 500 innovative offerings from the Hunter Specialties name. In that HS Strut, the Camo Compact, we talked about that being used in Desert Storm. Like, there's so many things that this company is well known for. A great quality turkey call is just one more they can add to the arsenal. This one here, if I'm going to give it a rating, I'm going out of 10 on this one. This is probably my absolute favorite slate call that you could possibly get. Even if my fit and finish isn't as pretty as this one, I'm sure my slate material is very much the same. Mine from those Pennsylvania mountains. I get that great sound to it. I personally, I like slate over glass. It is 100% up to you. Some people like different sounds. And that's the thing, they offer different sounds, right? So the slate, you can do a little bit. Maybe you want more rasp. Maybe you want a little more, you know, distance to your calls. Maybe that's for you. Slate is what that does, especially if you have a different striker, right? But with this one set up here at $31.50, this is a really high rating for me. I absolutely love this call. I think it's built very, very well. It fits in the hand very well, and I don't have the biggest of hands in the world. For me, it fits in my hand very well. Even though it slipped out once, I like the way this wood is finished up here, this American walnut. If I have a glove on, I know I'm not going to have to worry about it. The other thing too is it just looks really, really nice. It looks like I bought this call for $100. It's, you know, it took somebody a long, long time to make it, but it $31.50. It is an absolute great call. It comes with everything you need, right? Comes with the striker, comes with your slate, comes with a little scratch pad. This thing is perfect. It is out the door, ready to go. Match this with the feeding hen. Hey, you might have some success this year. And if you do have success, definitely share your information with us. Share your success pictures. Let us know. This is a great product. I give it a high stamp of approval. Stamp it right there. So it's the HS Strut turkey call. It's the box or pot style call. It's a closing time is the name of it. You see all the information on your screen. Again, inventories, we got them. Doesn't mean I'm going to have them tomorrow. Doesn't mean I'm going to have them this spring when you're ready to roll, getting into turkey hunting. Why wait? Hey, we've all learned something in the last couple of years is things may be here today and they may not be here tomorrow. So, oh, Dylan Williams has got a comment. What's up, Dylan? Dylan is the best. So, Dylan Williams, super fan, head-to-head super fan. He's an awesome, awesome individual. Said that my calling brings all the toms to the yard. Maybe I should do a TikTok on that later on. So this is an awesome one. Thanks, Dylan. I appreciate you watching, buddy. Hopefully this is one that might get you interested in that turkey hunting game if you're not already into it. So I highly recommend this one. $31.49. STCCTS is the code you want to enter in. This is a great product, everybody. Made in the USA. That right there, I think, is what's going to help sell this to a lot of people. So now this next portion of today's TRS Live, I feel, is a very important one, especially for this time of year and springtime of the year as well. Let's talk about Ben's insect repellent. This is Ben's tick and mosquito repellent. The stuff you see on your screen right now is the permethrin. The permethrin is one thing that I really started getting into the last couple of years because I got absolutely tired of ticks crawling all over me. So we're going to talk about permethrin here from Ben's. This is good stuff coming up next after these commercial breaks. It's Matt Trotz here with The Guided Life. We just met up with one of the guys from the crew, and he's like, they're on a hot track, so it's put her 4 high and get on these back roads and scream. Every year that I've been a part of that and I go to that class, I always learn something. So these guys are going to join me, and the reason I asked these 2 guys in here is because we got Travis, who does a lot of public land hunting, and then Judd and I are private land, owners and hunters for the most part as well. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Welcome back. Hopefully everybody's having a good Friday. What do you got going on in the weekend? I know it's my wife's birthday tomorrow, so happy early birthday to Molly. Hope we can have a great day together. I think I'm going to do a couple yard birds. I'm going to do one in a beer can style, then I might spatchcock one. That might be the other method. We're going to do 2 yard birds, so happy early birthday to my beautiful wife, Molly. Find her on her social media, send her a happy birthday. Tell her that I told you to send her a happy birthday. I think that would be awesome. See if this is really reaching out to people. So up next on the docket, we have the same product just in a couple different sizes. So Benz. So this is the one that for me, I know it's been out there forever. I was absolutely late to this permethrin game, to this product game that we're talking about today. And once I found it, I am absolutely happy I did. So let's talk about Benz for a moment, right? Benz is headquarters located in the heart of the White Mountains in Littleton, New Hampshire. Founded in 1973 and incorporated in 1977. So they're owned by Adventure Ready Brands, who make a bunch of great products. But the thing that you got to understand about Benz, right, is it is CDC recommended. They follow everything to the T to still give you a high quality product. And the one that we're going to talk about first is this 6-ounce can right here. Now the permethrin. Let's talk about permethrin and how this differs from regular repellent, right? So permethrin is what I use to treat my clothing, and I treat this in advance. So the cool thing about this product is I will spray it on my camouflage clothing, especially for turkey hunting, and I'll treat it before the season. So I'll treat it probably in March. And what I like to do is I like to let it air dry. So I will spray it. I'll actually use one of the bigger bottles, but if I'm in a pinch and I need to compact, if I'm on a trip or something like that, I can run one of these smaller 6-ounce bottles. And the cool thing about it, this is actually like more of a foaming, so you can see, make sure you get it, you can see where you're spraying it. But I treat my stuff ahead of time. Now, Ben says that you can treat your clothing, your gear, and then within 2 hours it's dry enough and ready to go, and it can handle multiple washings and still give you, you know, a lot of effects of protecting you from ticks and mosquitoes and other biting insects. But what I do is I treat it all, and then I will just leave it that way, and then maybe midway through the season, if I need to, not that I don't trust the Benz, I might reapply just to make sure I get the protection. But the worst thing is when you're hunting and you can see and feel ticks on you, and then you get that creepy feeling that you know that ticks are bothering you. Like, I don't have that as much anymore. Now, I just did a guided life. I filmed myself putting out some cutty-back cameras the other day. And I actually, in a pinch, right, I took some of the clothing that I don't typically wear for this situation, so they weren't treated to the fullest amount. So I just spot treated them before I went out. And the one area I didn't treat very well was this side of my clothing. For whatever reason, it just got lazy and I didn't do it. I had 0 ticks all the way up to this location. I had 2 ticks up on this side of my body where I just skimped on treating stuff. And I'm like, that's my mistake. That's my laziness that allowed these ticks to be on my body. Now, this is something that you spray on your clothing and on your gear. So when I meant that I treated it, I do not spray this on my hands. That's not, or my face. This goes on your clothing or on your gear. For me, in that instance, I started with my shoes. I put my shoes in the grass. I sprayed my shoes, and then I had my pants that I was going to wear. Don't worry, I was still clothed, right? I'm not walking around my yard in my birthday suit. But I sprayed those, and I sprayed the shirt, and like I said, I just must have got a little lazy. It didn't apply it as well. And then I let it dry, and then I wore them out that day. And I still had ticks in areas because I lacked to treat it. And the bugs too, the mosquitoes were absolutely horrible that day, and they weren't as annoying, you know, as they would have been if I would not have treated my clothing. So this is the 0.5 permethrin formula. This is, like we talked about, it's the CDC recommended. This has a awesome cap to it that's going to allow you to get that precision spraying, which I should have paid more attention to the other day. And then you can close it. Helps make it child-proof, right? Helps from the other thing too is if it's in a pack, if that nozzle were to bump up against something, it's not going to spray in your backpack and you're going to run out of bends. Now if I need to, just ready to roll, but it's got that strong body. It's like an aerosol formula here where this is going to be, you know, stand up to some abuse. It's going to be still lightweight enough in that 6-ounce formula where I can pack it into situations. Spray it on your tent. Spray it on your backpacks. The other thing too that's nice about it is it doesn't have as much scent. So this in the early season of deer hunting, if you wanted to, you could treat your clothing ahead of the deer season when we still have ticks and mosquitoes in the woods, whether you're bear hunting or deer hunting or like we talked about already, turkey hunting, or if you're just a hiker, right? This is not just situated for the hunter. It's for the fishermen. It's for anywhere you're going to be where ticks, mosquitoes, and other biting insects are around. And like their slogan says, don't get bitten, get bends. That's pretty much all I can really tell you about this stuff. I mean, the cool thing about it is once you treat your clothing with it, this can handle several washes. So if you, for whatever reason, got to wash your clothes, it got stains, it's got muds on it, you don't have to reapply in between. Now you can if you want the ultimate protection, but you do not need to. You can wash your clothes like you standard would, and then you can put them right back on and still know that you're going to have that bends protection on your clothing or the gear. The foaming formula, it's easy to apply, it's easy to see. There's a lot of awesome instructional videos. I know we did some filming with this for the Guided Life, and I absolutely love this stuff. I got Scott, who was working with me as a cameraman. He treated all this stuff, and he's like, man, I absolutely love this. I'm a firm believer in this. So this permethrin thing is one of those things that if you haven't got into this world yet, I want you to get into this world because it's going to protect you from ticks. And the last thing you want as an outdoorsman is to get Lyme's disease. That is a bugger. I know luckily it's treatable for us if we catch it soon enough, but I know some people that have had Lyme's disease and it just didn't really end well. So yeah, that's another one. Like he's just saying in my ear right now, there's a tick that makes you allergic to red meat. Do not play that game. I love red meat too much. Would you say it was a North Star tick, Aaron? Okay, so he's saying they're working their way as far north now as Illinois. And I know that was a thing for a while that I was hearing a lot about because people were getting allergic to, like Aaron said, red meat, the venison of it all. Can you imagine you go out and you're not able to eat venison? That's a bad day. So treat your stuff, treat your clothing. We talked about it lasting through several washes. The other thing too is it lasts up to 6 weeks before you absolutely have to spray it again and retreat your clothing. I mean, that's the whole entire turkey season in Wisconsin. That's the 6 weeks of our turkey season. I know that if I treat my clothing ahead of time, I will absolutely be covered. Now again, just because I want to, I'll treat it mid-season if I absolutely feel like I need to. But the thing about it is treat everything. I do, and I treat my boots, and I treat different shoeing, whether if I'm wearing like my leather hikers or I'm wearing just like a pair of run and gun style tennis shoes. I would treat those. I'll treat my pants, and the other thing I'll do is I'll flip them inside and out. So I'll treat the insides, and then I'll treat the outsides. And I'll do the same thing for I have a ghillie suit. I'll treat the inside and outside of that. My hat, my face mask, all that stuff. And then what I do is I let it hang outside. I let it dry naturally in the outdoor environment. And it's just gonna guarantee, man, ticks are the worst. And mosquitoes are the worst too, especially when you're trying to be in a turkey hunting situation where you cannot move because their eyesight is, the last thing you want to do is be swiping or like be flicking ticks off your hand. So treat your clothing, get permethrin, right? Treat your tent, treat your backpacks, treat the clothing that you're gonna need and the gear you're gonna be taking in. Plus, if you have that 6 weeks of protection, that's huge. So this little 6-ounce can right here, I'm going to go to my research. It treats 2 sets of clothing and 1 additional one. So it doesn't mean you got to soak it, right? You want to be able to see the product on there. It's going to have a little bit of wet feel to it. That's how you know you're getting your added protection. Oh, thanks, Andy. Andy said I got great information. Hey. I got to thank Katie. Katie helps me here. Katie puts a lot of this instructional notes, and I just got to fine tune it from there. But thanks to Katie. Thanks to Aaron, too. So yeah, the 6 ounce stuff right here, this is awesome, awesome stuff. Highly get it. Now, if you plan on treating a lot of clothing, that's when you want to get the 24 ounce bottles. So this has got an ergonomical, is that the right word? Did I say that right, Aaron? Ergonomical grip to it with the bottle. It's got your spray applicator. It's got a the child-proof head to it as well, so I can have it clearly says off. I can go to spray. I can turn it off again, and I can get the stream if I really got to soak it. So this is all the same great Ben's product that you're getting in the 6 ounce aerosol. This is just more in the concentrated form here, and it's in the 24 ounce. So again, if we talked about how much you can treat, right? This one here, we said that we can refer to it treats 2 sets of clothing plus an additional one. Now this is where if you have a lot of material that you got to be treating, like a tent, or like a tent, a backpack, and some clothing, and so on and so forth. This is the way you're gonna go. And you've been seeing the prices on the screen right now. Why would we discount stuff that's in high demand? It's because we want you to be safe out there. That's all I can really tell you. Like, this is mosquito, this is tick time of year, this is biting flies, this is gnats time. Oh my God, the gnats are so annoying. That absolutely drives me nuts. That why would we discount it? You know you want it. Just go ahead and save yourself some money. We want you to be safe out there. We want you to be disease-free as far as like mosquitoes and ticks and everything like that. So let's talk about what this treats. So again, spray it, let it dry for at the minimum of 2 hours, and then you can go ahead and use it. This right here treats 4 outfits or 2 sets of gear. So this is the bottle you're going to need if you have a tent, sleeping bag, so on and so forth. This is the one you're going to need, and at the prices you see here, normally $16, $12.50 is what you're going to get this one for. This is an awesome, awesome product. That permethrin is going to help keep the ticks away. It's going to help keep the flies, the gnats away. You know, and you partner this with the Ben's insect repellent that you can also get on the Real Shot website or at the in-store at the Real Shot. This is the ultimate protection. You run with the permethrin, you treated everything ahead of time, and then you use the insect and repellent that you can get at the Real Shot in-store and online to help back it up. I mean, this is where you get into that ultimate protection where you don't have to worry about the bugs ruining your vacation. 4th of July is coming up. We all want to sit outside and we want to enjoy the fireworks and with the company and maybe have a bonfire. The last thing you want to worry about is the mosquitoes or the gnats or the flies, especially when the flies get bad. Like, get yourself some of the Ben's product. Treat your clothing, treat your gear. Make sure you have the ultimate protection. Plus, we want to save you some money. The thing about it is that's what this show is all about, is bringing you high quality products that the Real Shop believes in and carries, and we want to give them to you at a discounted price. So right here you'll see it. It's $15.99 for this 24 ounce bottle on a regular price. $12.49 as the sales price, and again that code is BCIRP. And then I'll just remind everybody that we had the 6 ounce that we talked about, that more of the travel companion. That normal retail is $6.99, $5.50 is what you're going to get it for. In the 6 ounce can, if you want that one as a partner to the 24 ounce bottle, the 6 ounce can is BCIRP is the codes for the Ben's stuff. But remember, CDC approved, right? This one here is going to treat 4 outfits or 2 sets of gear. This little friendly guy right here with two sets of clothing plus 1 additional one. This is more of an aerosol foam towel spray. This is more of the concentrate in the liquid form. Again, the biggest thing too is with this kind of stuff, right? Like, let the adults do the spraying. They have the heads on these are more child-proof, so you're not going to have to worry about the kids getting into it. This has a nice selector here. If I want to stream it, if I want to spray it, I can dial that right to it. That fits in nicely in the hand. I can spray it from a number of different ways. This, if I have to get into some tighter areas and I need more of that aerosol. Plus, it's that foaming action too that's going to allow you to see where you're spraying it. So this is just awesome stuff. Don't be like me. Don't be late to the permethrin game. I am so glad that we started carrying the high quality Ben's products and I started playing with the permethrin as far as keeping the ticks and the mosquitoes away. And I can definitely vouch for this stuff. It works, and I think you're going to notice an instant difference once you start using it. And the thing about it is, remember, the permethrin is the gear and the clothing spray. We have the insect and repellent. That's the stuff that allows you to spray it on the hands, on the face, any of the exposed areas. Your clothing is all going to be protected right here. But if you need to get into the sleeve portion, you need to get your hands protected. Ben's make insect and repellent for that as well. So just a reminder, you're making this purchase, right? We're saving you some money. You can get up to 6 weeks of protection through several washes with both of these products that we're looking at right here, whether it's the 24-ounce more concentrate or the foaming spray here from Ben's. You're going to get the absolute ultimate protection. Here's one that I just noticed will not affect the protection properties of flame resistant clothing. So if you're somebody that is, having that kind of situation, this won't mess with that stuff. So it's a high quality product that you're going to get, again, made in the USA, made in New Hampshire. It's been tested. Ben's has been a great company. They incorporated it in 1977. Recommended, like we said, by the CDC, repels ticks, mosquitoes, flies, gnats, and other insects. It helps protect you against the Zika and the Lyme disease and all those kind of things, that West Nile, all those things that those nasty little bugs. I don't understand why we have mosquitoes and ticks, I'll be honest with you. But I know that with Ben's, I don't have to worry about that as much anymore. So get the Ben's. So one more time here. On the screen right now, you see the savings that you're going to get on these 24-ounce bottles. Don't get bitten, get Ben's is the slogan here. So you see the savings right here on this one, and then I'll remind you what your savings are on this travel companion here, the foaming aerosol one. This is your 6-ounce bottle. $6.99 is normal retail on this. Get it for $5.50 at the Real Shot if you use the code BCIRP. And then if you want the 24-ounce, I got a lot more to treat. That's $15.99 as the normal retails on these. You're going to get them for $12.50. Right now is especially the time where you're going to want to get this stuff. If you haven't treated your clothing yet this year, your gear, and you have some trips coming up. The nice thing too is, I'm going to remind you one last time, spray it, and within 2 hours you have that protection. So you can get it if you were leaving for a camping trip this weekend, or you're leaving for a fishing trip this weekend. You can stop into the Real Shop, pick some up. Right? If you're not able to order online, or you order online, you're at work right now watching this, do in-store pickup, and we get it here, and within 2 hours, that's basically you spray it, and if you're making a 2-hour trip north, your cooling, by the time you get it, is ready to go. You know you have that Ben's protection. So $12.50 on these guys right here, $5.50. Save you some money when this product is definitely in need right now. Treat your clothing, get 6 weeks of protection. You'll be able to wash your stuff and still know that you have that Ben's protection that they offer. CDC recommended. So get it. We appreciate it. Man, another day of savings. It's been awesome. I mean, we're kind of wrapping up that turkey spiel. The next week, we get into Monday, Wednesday, and Friday again at 9 a.m. Oh, Dylan again says he's got to get some of the Ben's. He said mosquitoes are a big fan of him. So I'm telling you, it's one thing I can talk about it. I can try to tell you how great this stuff is. You got to try it for yourself. And why not take advantage of us saving you some money to try it on? It really does work. And that's another one, like, let us know how well it is. I mean, you're going to be able to test it. We're going to save you some money at that point. You're going to be able to test it, and you're going to let us know here on TRS Live that, yeah, Matt is telling the truth and this stuff actually works, or you know what? I'm still telling you the truth, but maybe you didn't have success with it, and then we'll let you know what maybe you didn't do right. Like if you didn't treat your area like up here, like I didn't do, and I still had ticks up here, even though everywhere else was tick-free. That's on me. That's not on the Ben's high-quality product. So back to it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday again next week. We're getting back into the fishing world. I know we have some special guests coming up throughout the show next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday again, TRS Live. We're here at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Help us out. Share this with some friends. Let us know how things are going. You know, we appreciate all the feedback. But enjoy your weekend, everybody. Hopefully you're bug-free this weekend. And one last time, happy early birthday to my beautiful wife, Molly. Find her on her social media page and tell her happy birthday, and that Matt said that I sent you over there. So have a great Friday, everybody, and we'll talk to you on Monday morning.